So in this video we're going to look at how to complete moles calculations, and the first thing you need to be aware of is that there are three different equations that you can use, and depending on the information in the question that will help you choose which equation you want to use. So if you know what the mass is in the question, and independent of what state it can be, so it can be solid, liquid, in solution or a gas, you would use N equals M over RFM. If you only had a solution, so for example in titration, and you knew what the concentration was and the volume was, or you knew the concentration and the number of moles, you would use N equals CV, okay, and then rearrange as necessary to find your subject. Okay, and if it was a gas and you knew the volume of that gas, so only with the volume of that gas, you would use N equals V over 24. But here you need to be very careful, because sometimes they could ask you what mass of carbon dioxide you use, and obviously there, even though it's a gas, you would use that top equation, because you have the mass in the question, not the volume. Okay, so the first thing we need to be happy with is what each of these letters stand for. So N is just the number of moles. Moles is just a value of the number of particles. Okay, M is the mass I have in the question. RFM is a relative formula mass. I work that out by taking the mass numbers of each of the elements in my compound and adding them together. So for example, the RFM of sodium chloride would be the mass of sodium, which is 23, plus the mass of chlorine, which is 35.5, so that's 58.5. The relative atomic mass, obviously that's when I only have elements, so that's just the mass number of that element. So for example, the relative atomic mass of sodium is 23. The volume, that needs to be in litres, so I would need to convert my centimetres cubed into litres by dividing by 1,000. The concentration is C, and that's in moles per decimetre cubed. That's just the same thing as moles per litre. Okay, so we're going to look at an example question and work through how we might go about getting the answer.